Hello. So, today is an exceedingly rare weekday where I don't have a bunch of homework. So, I'm free to do a little silson stream. What the hell is this notification from Twitch? Get cred when you share a viral clip. God, killers. What was my question? Oh, right, on Instagram. I kind of put my phone down after I sent that to you, my bad. The question was it glorious? I guess I'm going back to Shellwood. Ain't shit else to do. I think it was pretty glorious. If you say so. Si quiere comer iguana, yo se las voy a agarrar. Pero que ricura. Y llegó el baile de la iguana. Ow. Okay, so this is one drawback of this crest. Hi, Marcy. Ow. One sec. Come to think of it. Yeah, I forgot to turn off my video. No need for that right now. I'm not using it. So, how's everyone else doing? Oh, guys, please don't work if it's just me. Still working on the AP Bio. What about AP Bio? What is it about AP Bio? Bad day? Oh. I'm sorry, what the fuck? I forgot those guys exist. Okay, so it seems I've already gotten that one. Make a foldable explaining different photosynthetic processes in the anatomy of chloroplast. That sounds pretty similar to what the freshman bio class that I TA for is doing. They have a lot of photables they have to make as well. But for them, it's about simpler stuff like phospholipid bilayers. Oh, speaking of, I was a physics teacher again today. It was Kepler's laws. It actually went really well. I was expecting it to go pretty bad because that was not my strong unit when I took the class. But it was pretty easy. We talked about ellipses. I explained to them, hang on. I explained to them all the stuff about focal points. Did you guys know that the ratio of the square of the amount of time it takes any two given planets orbiting the sun to complete one orbit is equal to the ratio of the cube of those two planets' mean distances from the sun? Y'all know that? Because it's true. I was teaching juniors. For the freshman bio class, another one of the teacher's students stepped in to teach that one. So I was there still. I answered a few people's questions, but I did not have to give them the notes. Okay. But yeah, for the physics class, see, I was given the notes that all the notes that I was actually required to like teach them, but I wanted to do more of like a lesson, more of an interactive thing, so I made sure to like ask them questions and like explain all the concepts to the best of my ability. Like, I remember when we did circular motion, I was trying to teach them why velocity equaled 2 pi r over capital T in the context of circular motion. So I was like, so the first thing I did was like, I asked, hey, can any of you guys give me the standard definition of velocity? Somebody said mass times acceleration, and I was like, wrong. Can anyone else give me the definition of velocity? Somebody raised their hand and said distance over time. So I was like, okay, correct. Now keep in mind, as I've told y'all, because I hadn't told them this already, by the way, in the context of circular motion, we're talking about the amount of time it takes to complete one revolution. Therefore, when we're talking about distance in the context of circular motion, we're talking about the circumference of a circle. The circle being the shape made by the revolution. So, can anyone tell me the formula for circumference? And then someone raised their hand and said pi r squared, and I was like, wrong. That's radius. Can anyone tell me the formula for circumference? Somebody said 2 pi r squared, and I was like, wrong, not squared. So they were like, oh, okay, 2 pi r. And I was like, yes, it's 2 pi r. And as I've told y'all, we're talking about the time it takes to complete one revolution, which is equal to the period t. I wasn't actually mean about it. I did tell them they were wrong, but I did it in a nice way. Mini play's not working. Sound the alarms. I've gotten this one already for sure. So gotten that one for sure. Okay, loud as notifications. God, shut up. Oh, this is weird. Welcome back, Marcy. I have no idea where the missing one could be. Well, I just checked the 3 that are down over that way, and I started out by getting the one at the top. Oh, come on! That's all of them. I've checked all 6 locations. This is really weird. Really, really weird. I mean, I have no idea where else I go with this quest, because that is pretty definitively every pull-up heart location. Ow. My only idea left is that there's some like secret location here, and that I actually haven't gotten the polyp heart from this one. But I feel like I remember having gotten the polyp heart from this one, so I don't think it could be that. Hello, Venus. There we go. Cold tonight. Good. I love the cold. I really do. I love the winter. It's my favorite season. I can't get enough of when it snows.
Smalon.
I've seen snow once. Oh my god. Can't imagine. I mean, I haven't seen it that many times, but certainly more than once. Applies. Oh. Oh, I love that. I love Venom. I'm gonna have to replace the warding bell with that. Thank you, man. Thank you. I hope it does snow for you, man. I'm venomous now. Everyone go listen to Venom by Eminem. I'm not gonna put it on stream. Because I probably shouldn't, probably can't. But, need y'all to go listen to it. Wonder if I can unlock that little currently locked portion. Come on, guys. Venom by Eminem is such a good song. It's so... I got nothing. It's such a bad fucking song. I can't even do it. No. Oh. tools. It only applies venom to the tools. Damn it, I thought it applied it to my nail and I was so excited. That's it, guys. I've heard enough. I'm canceling M&M. Alright, bro, I have no idea what to do in this game. Not guide video. I'm just seeing if anyone on Reddit has had a similar problem. No, this motherfucker hadn't reached blasted steps yet. I think I have to go back to goddamn fucking Cinders Road. I hate iPad kids too much. Something fun I've noticed is, now that I am in my last year of high school, and I'm a TA for my science teacher, and so I oversee and help out a freshman class. Like, to me, there's just an absolute world of difference between me and those freshmen. Like, they look like little babies. But it's like, you know, it's not like it was exactly that long ago that I was one of them. I've noticed that, like, I never notice as I change as a person, you know? But, like, it's just like I look back and it's already happened. you know? Because, like, obviously it was somewhere along the way that I went through some changes that now separate me from the freshman of today. I don't think there's any, like, one moment in my high school career that I could point to, you know, and I'm like, oh, this is where I grew as a person, right here. But it helps me realize just how much it has happened. The world of difference there is between me and this year's freshman class. Hey guys. No.
Haspin? Sentaso.
Sure. Not exactly looking forward to it, but you gotta do what you gotta do. How many? Oh, okay. Oh, god fucking damn it. Oh, no, come the fuck on. There's more than one here, usually. I know there is, yeah. There you are. You can play doors. No, you can play doors. I am making no attempt to stop you from playing doors. Fuck this fucking game, I don't know. Minecraft SMP poll. I don't think anyone would vote no for that. I think everyone's fine with the idea. Well, how often? Yeah, that's another question. Hi, Bubble Tea. Didn't know you were live. Yeah. Very rare weekday without homework. Things lined up very well with my classes. God, fucking damn it. Wait, here? So yeah, the rest of today I tried my best to spend productively. One second. I'm back. But yeah, as I was saying. Oh yeah, Bubble Tea, you weren't here for this. I taught physics yet again. That went really well, I think. Got back from the gym right before starting the stream. Well, not right before I do like my downtime. I do recognize that in concept they are entirely dissimilar. However, I imagine the feeling evoked by taking a shower after working out and getting shorn when you're a sheep are very similar to one another. I don't know if that one is going to make any sense to you guys, but it makes sense to me. Rosaries. The fucking rosaries, dude. So I can feel the outside wash off the body. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm glad you relate. I gotta be honest, I think it would make a lot of sense to wait till the summer to do the SMP thing. Just on account of how busy everyone is. Oh yeah, my key fob for my car ran out of batteries, so I can no longer unlock my car with the press of a button, as the modern man is so accustomed to. I hope things get better. Well, the new battery is coming in on Thursday, so... You know, it gets really hard to suspend my disbelief at Hornet's canonical status as a seasoned warrior when I'm the one controlling her and I suck so badly at everything. It really takes you out of the game. I fucking hate this place. I've thought about that exact thing before, Bubble Tea. It's like I could never write a detective story because I would have to write out a mystery, you know, a crime that people wouldn't immediately be able to figure out. I hate this game. My healing was just interrupted, but despite that, all of my resources taken by a projectile that remained on the ground from an enemy I had already killed, that I evidently bumped into after I had already started healing. And we waited like 8 years for this.
Nella? Oh no. Questo mel. Oh, mena no. Tolotano.
Nesvir?
Motera.
Fun.
Oh, Salamet.
Mena no. Dos golem.
Repeat my poem. Well, I don't think it was much of a poem for sure. What I said was I just had my healing interrupted, and yet my resources to do so taken anyway, by the projectile of an enemy I had already killed that was left on the ground that evidently I bumped into whilst healing. And we waited 8 years for this game. I'm actually fine with that. Doesn't bother me at all, the event that just occurred. A difficult thing to accept for me when I write poems and short stories is that at the end of the day, the thing that I intended it to mean stops mattering as soon as I allow other people to see it. Because just as is beauty, poetry is in the eye of the beholder, and it is what they make of it. I have found, however, that nobody will ever have the exact interpretation that I intend. And sometimes that can be beautiful, because I've seen people extrapolate things from things that I've written and force them to read that I wouldn't have even imagined. But on the other hand, sometimes people are kind of stupid, and it's deeply aggravating. What is it, Venus? Oh, it made me cringe. That's okay. I still think there's things in there. So. Alright. No, I forgive her, Marcy. I remember I wrote a short story that I sent to my English teacher. It was about the 7 deadly sins. My reason for writing it was I wanted to challenge myself to find unique ways to represent each of the 7 deadly sins. Like, I wanted to specifically think of ways in which I haven't seen them represented in any form of media that I've consumed. For example, I think it was greed, I chose to represent it in the form of a stray dog. Because I think typically we think of greed as just like, you know, some like fat person, some fat hedonistic person. And I just find that boring past a certain point. Like, we get it. I chose a stray dog because, as I wrote in my story, the mindset of a stray dog is that of an eternal present. One in which the dog does nothing but take that which is directly in front of it. So it was a little vignette where the dog eats a squirrel in the park. And I wrote that, you know, it does eat the squirrel because it's hungry, that is true, but if it weren't, it would continue eating anyway. If you were to put a stray dog in a room full of food, it would eat itself to death just because it has no concept of self-control or preservation. So that was how I chose to... Okay, yes, we're here. We're in a new area. This is good. That was how I chose to represent greed. The mist. Anyways, I sent it to her, but here's the thing. The thing that motivated me initially to write this story was I dislike very strongly the way specifically that lust is represented in every form of media I have ever... No, I'm not fucking touching that anymore. And there are spikes blocking my way, okay. Anyways, because every other form, every other deadly sin, the other 6, when people write a metaphorical representation, or when people make a personification. Hello? Of the other 6, I don't have my headphones on, so I cannot hear the screaming that you tell me exists. Anyways, all the other 6 deadly sins, when they get personified, it's in the form of things that exhibit those sins. Like, the personification of greed is always something that exhibits greed. The personification of wrath is something that destroys, etc. Until you get to lust. And whenever lust is represented, whenever it's personified, it's in the form of something that tempts us to commit it. Usually it's like a sexy lady. That's your stereotypical personification of lust. And I just dislike that, like, very strongly. I find it boring, I find it uncreative. I find it evidence to the fact that the people who write those stories wherein lust is personified as some sexy lady are simply guilty of lust themselves. And that's understandable because I think just about every human being capable of experiencing lust is guilty of it. I think that's in our nature as humans and just as animals. But if you're gonna write about it, if you're gonna personify it, then you should try not to be subconsciously guilty of it in such a way that influences how you write your story. Yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense like at all right now. In any case, I think lust is better represented by a porn addict. I hope you guys can understand why. So that was one of my vignettes to my story. I wrote about a porn addict. Like, I tried my best to write about the feeling of just... Well, I mean, you can say this about addiction in general. It's specifically porn addict because it's about lust, but like the things you can apply to that, you can apply to any addiction. So, well, I presume. So I wrote about like the feeling of like self-hatred and judgment that would come along with it, and all that. Like things that I don't think everyone thinks about, or at the very least things that certainly everyone doesn't write about. So that was part of my story. The teacher, I sent the story to her because I wanted a critique on it, and so she said she'd read it and give back to me. That took a solid month. And then she finally read it, and I wanted to just discuss it with her in person, but she said she would email me the critiques that she wrote. She has not. I'm a little bitter about it. But also, I got called up to the office to talk to the assistant principals. And I hope y'all understand, when I was called out of my math class to go up to the front office, I had absolutely no idea that it was about the story I had written. They didn't tell me that until I was already in the room. So obviously I'm panicking. I'm not going to incriminate myself by telling you guys that I've done way worse shit than write some story about a porn addict. I'm not going to say that explicitly. But like, just like, you know, obviously I wasn't thinking it was about to be about the story, this meeting, but it was. So apparently my English teacher, she sent the story to the assistant principals. Because she was just like, is this appropriate? Like, am I allowed to discuss this? And so they called me up just to be like, hey, next time, if you send your English teacher a story, just make sure it's school appropriate. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Obviously, I knew that that wasn't school appropriate. Of course it wasn't. But I wasn't, like, presenting it to anyone, right? I wasn't... Like, I'm a senior. She's a teacher. I figured we could all be adults about this. And she could just, like, give me a critique of the story. But no, she sent it to a bunch of other people who also read it, and I didn't want that to happen. And they called me up to the office just to tell me not to do that in the future. And it's like, this didn't have to be a fucking meeting. Send me an email. The message will be communicated to me just the same. There, Marcy. No, didn't jump in time. Hey, wait a damn minute. Haven't I been here? Okay, here, and then, yeah, I don't understand either. I was, pretty annoyed by that whole scenario. Definitely been here too. I don't see the issue. Yeah, man. Me neither. But sometimes laws are stupid, sometimes people are stupid. Sometimes everything's stupid. Been there too. Sometimes this fucking game is stupid. Okay. Oh fuck, I'm dead. Yep. 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 Sorry guys, I'm texting someone. Wait, no. Alright. Tengo la mano enamorada, no me hace pensar, corazón. Tengo la mano enamorada, muy enamorada de mi bien. Si me das solo tu vida, yo te la doy también. Ow. God fucking damn it, I hate this game. Who left? Probably Equinox, to be honest. I like the singing. I don't know the rest of that song, sorry. It wasn't Equinox? Wow, must have been Venus Vesper. I guess she really got sick of all the shit I was saying. I do worry oftentimes about sounding pretentious whenever I talk about things. But like, I imagine you can infer easily enough that I can be a bit of an overthinker. So I have a very unnecessary amount of things to say. Oh, I guess the view count was just inaccurate for a time. Tengo la enamorada, muy enamorada mi bien. Si me das toda tu vida, yo te la doy también. Ow. Ow. We're doing him in the speaking. Wow, you're that sick of me. Not a good enough streamer for you. God damn it. Love to read that story if you're willing to share. Hang on, let me try to figure something out real quick. Ah. Here it is. I can just read it to you guys right now, if you want me to. Oh. Oh, wow. I didn't realize my mic was so sensitive as to recognize when I got closer. Do not ever say those words again, Marcy. Anyways, I'm not gonna send it because I don't feel like editing it, and it has my name at a few points. But I can read it to you guys if that sounds fun for everyone. So you're gonna have to leave Venus Vesperk, because from what I've been seeing from you, you really don't want to hear this one. Just read. Right. So the story is called Seven Vignettes. I do not make any explicit references to any of the seven deadly sins. I actually never told my teacher that that's what it was about. It's kind of, the initial intention is that like that's a thing that the reader can infer, but I kind of just told you guys because I was just talking about it. Ow. Motherfucker, I hate this game. Seven Vignettes. A young man sits in the back of an honors English class, tapping his pencil on the desk impatiently. He has no interest in the material. He thinks himself smarter than his classmates, than the teacher, than the author of the poem they're reading. He's paid no attention to the lecture thus far. He never participates unless prompted, upon which time he scoffs and says he doesn't care. Doesn't care to analyze the poem, doesn't care to do the homework, doesn't care to pass any tests. His classmates don't like him. The teacher doesn't particularly care for him either. He, on the other hand, loves himself, loves the idea of his intelligence. His classmates and his teacher think him stupid, that the reason he doesn't participate or read anything is due to inability. But he knows much better. He knows that if he wanted to, if he ever bothered to participate, he'd outperform everyone and hardly break a sweat. He will go on to fail this English class, but as he can confidently say, it's hardly through any fault of his own. He's simply above it all. So that's the first paragraph. Yes, they all think him stupid. It makes sense, Marcy. I don't know what to tell you. A politician was recently elected into office. As usual, their side was quite happy, the other quite disappointed. But the same trends continue. It doesn't really matter who wins. The rich get greater tax cuts, the life of a poor person gets more expensive, prices rise disproportionately to the common man's wages. The politicians and their wealthy benefactors reap all the benefits without a second thought given to the general populace. The only philosophy they have, the only idea by which they really operate, is to steal. The third hurricane this year rages across Florida. There was a flash flood warning the day before. Several cities had to be evacuated, but the hurricane came too quickly for casualties to be avoided. And I do know the stereotype of Floridians not evacuating for hurricanes, but I decided to ignore that for the purposes of the story. Havoc was wreaked on the coast. Entire houses were uprooted, neighborhoods were practically leveled. Several feet of water torrented through the streets, gradually bringing down everything with them. The wind whipped up the debris and flung it back onto the flooded ground just as quickly. There was no semblance of order or reason. There was only unmitigated chaos. The hurricane was incapable of anything but destroying all in its path, and incapable of not destroying. It's currently the 5th week of school. On the first day, she came to school in sweatpants and a hoodie, her hair in a ponytail, the straps of a plain black backpack hanging on her shoulders. During the first week of school, she began to notice one of the more popular... She began to notice one of her more popular classmates. The way she held herself with an easy confidence seemed to be so effortlessly well liked by her peers. They looked quite different. Her classmate had different shoes, different pants, different shirts, a different backpack. She had never had a problem with how she looked or what she wore, but now she began to feel self-conscious, inadequate. In her newfound self-consciousness, she felt a growing resentment towards her own appearance and a desire to emulate what she saw. After the first week, she bought new shoes. She hadn't bought new shoes in years. Her feet hadn't outgrown her current ones, so she felt no need. She never used to need another reason. After the second... God, I'm rereading this and I don't even like how I wrote it. In the coming weeks, she bought new clothes. She had a new backpack by the fourth. By the fifth week, she came to school looking nothing like herself. It could have been an entirely new person that had taken her place in all her classes. Unbeknownst to this new person, though, was that they were doomed to the same fate. They would inevitably begin to notice someone new, someone different. The same resentment and desire would grow. The same process would occur in the coming weeks. It might take only days to come around again, it might take months, but no matter how slowly or how quickly, it would repeat itself. A stray dog stands in wait at the park, tense, concentrated, desperate. Its teeth are bared, saliva dripping from its mouth. Every muscle is flexed, every part of its body carefully in place, ready to strike at any moment. Nothing, not in the dog's immediate vicinity, not in the rest of the city, not in the entire world, exists except for what it's focused on at this exact moment. A squirrel lounging carelessly in front of it, blissfully unaware of the threat that looms. The dog knows that the squirrel would immediately dart away if it saw it. Slowly but surely it creeps up until it can feel by instinct that the right moment has come. It lunges. The squirrel tries to run, but it's too late. It is caught between the jaws of the dog. The dog kills and eats at every opportunity. It doesn't matter if it's hungry or not. If it sees a squirrel or any prey, it will hunt, kill, and eat it. If left to its own devices in a room full of food, the dog would eat itself to death, never knowing when to stop, never thinking to conserve its resources. To the dog, there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no earlier, no later. There is only an eternal now in which the dog does nothing but take. I'm going to skip the vignette about the porn addict. A train creaks slowly along its tracks. In its heyday, it could have gone over 50 miles per hour, but that was years ago. Now it barely goes 5. The commuters would all like it to be decommissioned and put out of work, but it hasn't been. It used to transport coal, but it doesn't have a purpose anymore. It drones on, endlessly, pointlessly, agonizingly slowly. It could be stopped at any point. It could be dismantled and recycled and put to a better use. But the commuters, as strong as their desire is, don't care enough to fight for it. The county government doesn't care enough to act unprompted. The train drones on. There you guys go. Why no lust? Because that would be really uncomfortable for me to read out on stream. Sorry, didn't you specifically say that you wanted to kill yourself just because I was talking about this? and now... and now you're disappointed that I'm not reading it out? People can change. I didn't know they could change that much that quickly, I'll be honest. Can I give a synopsis? I already gave a synopsis. It's about a porn addict. It's, well, as you can tell, pretty much every one of the vignettes was in media res or whatever. So it started out with the porn addict in question in their in their chair in their room. You can guess what they were doing. And I just go on to talk about like the self-hatred, the judgment of themselves that they feel. Because I think the other thing is, especially with people who experience lust, like in particular, but with people who experience any addiction, is that people don't, at least not terribly often, tend to think of them as like self-aware or like wanting to better themselves but feeling unable. I think people have a very narrow view of addiction. So they see somebody suffering from, whatever given addiction, and they just judge them. Instead of feeling any sympathy, which, as you might guess, I think is the right thing to do in that scenario. So it was important to me to write out that the porn addict in the story was acutely aware of, of what they were. Ow. So, like, a lot of that vignette doesn't actually even focus on them being a porn addict. It's more so just feelings about addiction in general. How does it affect these guys if I... Well, I'm gonna die. What do you think? I think you guys can do that and have fun with it, but I've kind of already done it, so... Guess you can just take one of mine as an example of what I would write. Oh my god! That was infuriating. Yeah, you're not gonna fucking remember, bro. I wasn't expecting to still be in the mist. Love it when the game when the focal point of the game just becomes how long can I survive on 1 health. These are the moments I really live for. How long have I... Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. It's 10:20. I need to get to sleep, guys. Fuck, an hour and a half. Oh my god, I wasn't even planning on streaming more than an hour. I'm sorry, guys. You know how much I hate cutting us off suddenly, but, like, I genuinely did not notice what time it was at all. Very Falmouth. Goodbye.